The man had been in hibernation for 500 years. When he opened the curtains, the buildings outside were leaning in every direction, and the ones about to collapse were tied up with ropes. Bridges had fallen apart, yet cars kept driving forward. The man was stunned by what he saw. It turned out that after many years, the average IQ in America had dropped to single digits. The reason was that highly intelligent people were always busy with work and did not want children, while people with low intelligence had nothing to do and focus only on producing the next generation. Over the years, national IQ declined severely. To deal with this crisis, a government created a plan to put normal people into hibernation and wake them. 10 years later, to save America's dwindling intelligence, Joe and Rita were chosen as the first test subjects. The government promised them a large reward after 10 years. So they entered the hibernation pod, but unexpectedly, the only official who knew about the plan was arrested for corruption, and the experiment was completely forgotten. Years later, the lab was demolished, and the pods were thrown into a garbage dump. Time flew by, and 500 years passed. With the exploding population, trash piled up in the mountains, and nobody cleaned it. When a last soda can fell from a garbage truck, the mountain of garbage collapsed, flooding the city like a tsunami. That Joe's pod was washed into Fredo's house. And when the pod accidentally opened, Joe woke up. Fredo, who was learning that 1 + 1 is equal to 2, was interrupted and forgot the end. Angry, he immediately got up and threw Joe out of the window. Joe was confused and wanted to go to a hospital for a checkup, but even the hospital billboards looked ridiculous. Inside, it was obvious that the people were not very bright, and that included the robots. Joe wanted to register, but the nurse stared at cartoon icons for a long time before randomly choosing one. And Joe was sent for an exam. The doctor gave him 3 metal rods, telling him to put one in his mouth, one in his ear, and one in his back side. Just as Joe finished, the doctor said he made a mistake and switched them around. The one that had just gone in his backside should have been his mouth. Joe was horrified, and after the exam, he immediately ran to the faucet to rinse his mouth, only to find that the tap dispensed soda instead of water. Later, he discovered in a magazine that it was already the year 2505 that night. While standing at a vending machine, 2 police officers suddenly rushed out. Before Joe could explain, he was tackled and taken to court. The judge, though clearly not very smart, still found him a lawyer. To Joe's shock, a lawyer was Fredo, the man who still had not learned that 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Fredo was surprisingly eloquent and ended up helping the opposing lawyer prosecute Joe. The judge slammed his gavel, declared Joe guilty, and sentenced him to 10,000 years in prison.